at the accident shelter right now. She paid as usual to teach Cho Trong Yip martial arts. But today, the young man went out to work. So Chow Kai Ni said, the Trong people are out to work. It must be very late today. I want to suggest a salary to you. Or cancel today's class. Is that okay? Her expression began to get a little tense. About this. Do you want to learn martial arts or not? Nor SAO you. This is a necessary job right now. Lady Bao aesthetic. I don't study hard today. I was short of food one day. The students will be hungry one day. Chu Kai Ni suddenly remembered. I really forgot about this. Your salary must be that you haven't eaten yet, right? Or eat with us. I just heard Chow Kai Ni say, eat rice. It was in her head that she celebrated Ra. I know how much is good. You haven't tasted that food in a long time. Although she wanted to, the salary shook her head and refused. No thanks, I'll be back tomorrow. My wife told me the salary. Who is really afraid? You're on a business trip today. She waved her hands to make it look like nothing. No wonder he has his own business. I can understand. So far, they've all been tutors. Adapt to student time. There's no tutor to set the time. I told you, your ass is going straight to the door. People ate me before. I can see your salary expression. I can't help but laugh. Your salary is a lovely person. At this time, Yang Xin has just arrived. She told Chu Kai Ni. This is probably the persistence of someone who knows martial arts. The child said again. If she makes a request, I can only pack a portion of the food. Let her bring it back. I want you to look at the innocent face of Zhu Hai. If you only bring some food back, that's the problem. I still don't understand the problem, so I asked him with my eyes wide open. Why? In general, it is better than going to hands without returning, because you lived with them for a while. So very well understood. He began to explain to his classmates. It's not that honest people are generous. If you only bring part of the food, it's based on her personality. Will not eat alone. Others will eat it. 10 people eat a portion of food. Situation where people politely yield to each other will not be able to appear. For a bite, they'll take each other. Scolding even progress to fight. You are paid now, because taking care of them has a headache. So it won't be too much trouble for myself. The child feels curious. Even if Zhang Yi leaves, you probably know the salary will come. I said, did he do that on purpose? Yang Han nodded. This one. It's definitely in Zhang Yi's plan. Chao likely continued to ask. What I mean is that Zhang Ji did this on purpose. To start a conflict between the Kier students. Increase the pressure. Let her see reality quickly. Right now, it seems, I know very well about Trong Yi's thinking. She confidently told Chu Kai Ni. Of course, Mr. Zhang Yi can't think of this. Take advantage of the opportunity to be busy. Pretend to forget the contract with the approval salary. In fact, is to borrow that opportunity to annoy the Kier, and messing with her inner self. Speaking of which, his eyes lit up. The mouth is praising. Mr. Zhang is so good. My son is starting to realize that's right. It's really Zhang Yi's style. He's too careful. Any small movements, it's actually very profound. While the two girls are admiring the translation. Super careful. Then on the way back to Trong Yi, I remembered the family. I forgot today. Tell the payer, you don't need to come looking for me. After returning from Zhang Yi's villa, she accidentally met the people of the village from home. Looks like they're trying to dig through the snow to search for fish. She thought it was the one who lived in the village from home. I see them working hard, under the harsh weather, the salary thought. To this country, they only have to bite their teeth to survive. But the students, there is hope that others will help. Unconsciously, she remembers the words Zhang Yi said and said to himself, Zhang Ji's words are very true. I really protected them too much. This time when I returned, I'll tell them directly. They have to leave their comfort zone. That way I can feed myself right away. As usual, the students are still at home waiting for the salary to bring food. I saw you go home today. They panicked and asked for her salary. Why did you come back? She calmly replied, Zhang has a job to go out today, so there's no food. Everybody, go out and catch some fish to eat. The students who have their faces distorted complain. People are blaming. Move him out. He didn't give us an hour's notice. He's not home. The others aren't there either. They are so full of food. It doesn't matter if you give us some. See the attitude of the students. The salary reminded me, people shouldn't criticize others. You have to rely on your hands for food. No one can help us forever. A schoolgirl walks up to her salary complaining her salary. Last time I went to the snow to catch fish. My hands are also broken. Now the wound is still unhealed and wants to die. Other girls also follow. We can't do this kind of thing. We're not fishermen. While another schoolgirl, because there's no food today, and it's a hate thing, and obviously. She said it out loud. Not even. Yang Han Han with 6 revelation to amazing SAO. Even though we've been classmates for years. They just enjoy themselves. They don't think about us. Listen to the girl say what she means. The students agree with Theo. It's too despicable and selfish people. A boy doesn't mind his mouth. Let's go back to the old days. Extrematube. I even invited 6 people to have milk tea. Now she doesn't want to help me. There is no conscience. I hear you say that. My family and Yang family, they're still distant relatives. It's as if he doesn't remember me. A selfish woman is a selfish woman. He continued to speak ill of his pride and of course. I'm telling you. From the beginning, I felt these two were not. Is a good person. Now, of course, I looked right. I can see the bad behavior of the students. That I've been carrying for so long. Anger is thought. These people are unwitting. It's absurd to throw mud at 2 kids. I almost died in their hands. She holds 2 hands to hold back my own anger. Only now do you really understand. Things like top academies. Son of an upper-class noble. High-quality talent is no different than a bear. I can't take it anymore, she screamed. Everybody be a little quiet. I have something to announce. I'll go to the shelter later with the 6th revelation. Yang Han Han, she said while thinking. I can't keep pampering these students. I want them to learn how to live independently. When a girl heard it, she came running. Take the salary girl's hand. You'll take us to Zhang Yi's hideout. It's good to be virtual. Great-grandpa's son. She quickly withdrew her hand and answered frankly, it's not like that. Her eyes revealed her determination. I'm the only one going. You have to stay in this place and learn to live by your own abilities. The campaign promised me it's going to feed 10 people a day. I will bring you food every day. Listen to this, the students. You can't leave us like that. You weren't like that before. That's right. You're too selfish for that kind of salary. She closed her eyes and sighed. I've decided on this. Don't say any more. Turn your back and push the door down. Let the students stay begging and reproaching. Transfer the scene to Zhang Yi's shelter. After speaking frankly to the students, she immediately went to Zhang Yi's villa. When I saw her salary, I suddenly saw her salary. Why are you here? Look at your salary. Shou Kai said that. Let me ask Han Han and Kai Ra to talk to you. You guys, it's easy to say anything. Hold your hands in the cold, thank you. The Lord and I invite you inside the house. Sit and talk. They told her about their life in. Here 6. I can't hide my proud eyes. When it comes to translation, our life has been wonderful lately. My brother is a very good person. He never even let us do the housework. And he's got a room for me, so that I can develop my hobby. Honestly, I feel this time, it's even more fun at school. Look at the excitement of the possibility of her cosmetic salary. That is, he saw your talent for machine building. Stupid head. Of course, when he finished speaking, he continued. Since we got here, our lives have been comfortable. You want to come here too, right? She also admitted at this time. I really should have left. Trong Yi is right. I always protect the kids. It just makes them feel bad. He turned to look at the salary. But from the bottom of your heart, I don't want to move to this place. Listen to this. The salary hesitates. No, at the moment, the salary cannot confirm this. Yang Han Han began to use the emotional trick Han Han grasped. Take her hand gently said. No problem, salary. Everyone has the right to pursue happiness. You did the right thing. Psychologically hit, the two-eyed woman couldn't say anything. I am grateful to you. I saw the salary crying. And I'm probably hugging you too. I didn't forget to whisper in my hand. You've done very well. No matter which way you choose. We will all support you later. After a moment of reflection, salary has finally been decided. Your eyes now show determination. She had a hot cup of tea in her hand and said, after Zhang Yi returned, please help me talk to him about this. 6 Of course, this is a matter of course. I'll definitely help you tell him. Don't worry, salary. With your extraordinary talent, surely Mr. Zhang Yi will not refuse. Let you join us. Where do you speak to the light? You shouldn't be here talking bad. If you promise now. But when Zhang Yi came back, he had a different opinion. That would make you a 7-figure salary, wouldn't it? We keep. Wait for Mr. Zhang to come back and let him deal with it. 6 It seems to me that it is right to say the same thing. Tell me again about the salary. Trong Yi is really good, but he's also very principled. For each member who joins the shelter, he'll make very strict demands. If you want to join them, you have to be psychologically best prepared. At least you get a point. It's about obeying his orders. She asked the student. So what requests does he usually make? The salary in your head right now. Imagine how much the emotional scene of Trong Yi and the 2 Kier girls. She thought silently, although not very well understood, but AI also sees. It's his relationship with Chu Kai Ni and Yang Honey in this shelter. In addition to him, there are 4 other women. That's when we get to the shelter. Maybe I have to. And then what happens? I can't even think about it because I'm embarrassed. Who. I know that you are worried about harassment. Yang Han Han immediately confirmed. What you're thinking doesn't really exist. Ever since you and Kai came here, Brother Tang translate, no behavior ever messed with us. Brunette salary facial cosmetic. Can you believe this young man? You always have words with wings. When it comes to Trong Ying, he's a very decent man. Don't worry about your salary. You always hear the words, Trong Yi is a decent person. His face had an expression of disbelief. She uttered properly, Sao. He held up a finger and winked at her. General, my brother is not a pervert. Crazy, otherwise he would have made Sao exist until now. In the end of the world, he needs your power. If you guess correctly, the condition for her to join the shelter is in combat. You must obey his orders. After hearing the words of gratitude, the salary seems less worried. On the matter of being messed up by Zhang, you can smile and nod, and you will listen to him. A few hours after getting some supplies and food of Tay Sun base, then Zhang Yi's group also returned to the shelter. Looking through the glass door, I saw the car moving about happily. Uttered, Mr. Zhang Yi is back. He pushed himself to the door to welcome the epidemic. When I opened the door, I saw that I was waiting. The translation is a bit of a surprise. The nurse asked what was wrong with you. I have something to tell you. HN said softly in the ear, the salary has come. She's planning to join our shelter. Expand translation, you're joining our team. But there's also a bit of a surprise because the salary is so fast. She was very hesitant about this a few days ago. Trong asked Han Han, I was hesitant to decide before. Now she's coming. Maybe I've thought it through. The two of you whispered to each other for a while. Trong still wonders. What's the situation after all? Please make it clear. He said while smiling, brother. Your food cutting strategy and your advice. It worked. The relationship between the teacher and the students has deteriorated. In her anger, she came here. To nod off. I understand, Hun said. I've helped you build a solid foundation. When talking with her, you can make some excessive demands. He looked at her with confident eyes. I'll help you convince her. I just got home and got the good news. The epidemic felt extremely excited. The young man gently pinched his cheek. And don't forget to praise. You are my good psychological assistant. He turned to the view and said fat. She came to me to talk to her. Wait for me in the next room. The young man pushed his hand towards her. She's sitting on the sofa right now. But how much anxiety appears in the heart. But maybe what you're most worried about is fear. I don't recognize myself and the team. Tell them your salary has arrived. I saw Zhangji working hard again. Then he went to the bartender. She rolled up her sleeves and asked, CA, welcome home. What do you want, beer or milk tea? As usual, the young man took some milk tea. Step to the sofa. Sit down and take off your jacket. You don't pay much attention to your salary. It's like nothing's important. You see the action. This movement of Zhang Yi is hesitant. I want to open up. But it's too hard to open your mouth. I see the salary is not active. I am also very careful to open my mouth. She turned to tell Zhang Yi. Your brother has something to ask you. She calmly asked, oh, what's wrong? Then the young man added, thank God we're not outsiders. If anything happens, just say it. Yang Han immediately let's get straight to the point. Mr. Trong Yi, can you allow me to move in with you? The young man pretended to be surprised. You want to move here? Actually, in the heart of Zhang's pleasure, near death. She was shy, so just sit quietly and listen without daring to say a word. The movement seems incredulous because I think Yang is joking for fun. Don't be kidding. The salary didn't always say. She's got to be there and take care of the Kier SAO students. Right after that, the young man has words for her salary. Punching and rubbing type. Of course, you're not welcome. Lesbians pay beautiful fighting strength, martial arts. If you join our shelter, you'll become a useful talent. Not through you don't like to force others. When she heard these words from Zhang Yi, she bowed her head. The campaign had abandoned the previous invitation. He had invited me before. I said I wanted to stay with the students. Let's move forward, and is he no longer persistent now? She always turned to look Shang in the eye. That aesthetics. But just in your eyes, I'm still worth it. There is still a chance to negotiate. 6 of course. Just gave Cho Trong a cup of milk tea. Great CA. You don't know the current salary situation. Those students. 01 who knows how to pity her salary. I don't do a little work every day. They only suck your blood. They only go out to work a little and complain. They are waiting for food from the paycheck. You are lucky that you have a good heart. If you changed hands a long time ago, they have no right to complain. Now the salary is up. Mr. Zhang Yi, I hope I can come here to create an independent environment for them to grow. Because it was clearly stated before, she promised Trong Yi the salary. Don't worry after joining the shelter. I'll follow your rules. If there's anything you need me for, you can just give me the order. He looked at the salary. If you want to join us, I am very welcome. But I'm still a little concerned about. She was surprised by Zhang Yi's words. You don't believe me. He drank a sip of milk tea and continued. It's not that. Just, I'm afraid you may not be able to obey me in the future. As said. She holds both hands on her lap. After a moment of thought, she replied, if that's an excessive request, I'll definitely agree. I'm finally the one with my own rules. To speak frankly. MILF gentle love frankly. That's your strength, but it's also your weakness. If I'm going to hold you back, I need your fighting strength. If there is a day to protect the safety of our people, you need to kill people you think are innocent. Can you do it? This part is paid. He looked at Zhang with determined eyes. You didn't hesitate to answer. If it's to keep yourself safe and everyone around, I can do that. But if it's just to satisfy your own desires, I'm sorry, I can't accept. Your answer is salary. That's a little surprising. Young man who looks at her salary. What are you thinking? The old woman said after a while. More according to my observation. Even though it seems unintentionally cold, but you're still a pacifist. I believe you can understand these things. As long as no AI provokes first, you don't kill innocent people. He looked at her with a finger to agree. That's great. The doctor asked again. So that means just to keep us safe. You can kill anyone, right? You always keep your head down. I'm not going to mess with my people. Smiling analysis, of course. Even though I'm not the devil. How can I deal with people close to me? It was fun on the outside, though, but there's a thought in the heart of the epidemic. It's very sinister. If you really have to do that, I'll do it myself. The young man took another sip of milk tea. Start thinking about the situation in front of you. Let's get the money on our side first. And the students are trash from the trauma. The world is so dangerous that useless people die in accidents. It's a very normal thing. That, though, as they have also used to be cruel and cruel. This will be supported by both of them. After careful thought, put down a glass of water and say, all right, then have fun. Welcome to Zhangji's big family. Trong Yi and her salary shake hands to start a partnership. I am happy to have not forgotten my promise. As agreed. I'll still provide food for the students in magnetic resonance, but you can't put any AI in the shelter. I see that my brother has picked it up. Salary in the group. Yang Xin Han is happy to applaud. The salary also breathed a sigh of relief when Zhang Yi agreed to let her into the shelter. She sat down on the sofa thinking. To be so good. First of all, Zhang Yi continued to my conscience is also acceptable. Looking at her expression, the salary whispered, it's naive. People out there won't live long. Chao Lin and Yang Mi looked excited when a new member appears in the shelter. After Zhang Yi and her salary finished talking, the two of them sat next to her. She looked dumbfounded at Zhang Yi's two women without knowing what to say. Chao Kai Ni immediately opened the word. Let's have a ceremony. Well, welcome to the faculty. I'll clean the room. The nurse immediately agreed. Then you clean the room, and I'll be in charge of preparing lunch. Do you have anything you like to eat? She shyly replied, I'm not picky. You can do whatever you want. You can nod your head happily. That's good. She looked at the shadow of the back of the two men. What's going on? Is my illusion SAO? I always feel like these girls are a little self-obsessed. Chao Ki Ni and Yang Bai. It was fun talking to you earlier. But when you walk out, the face is completely different. The two girls sighed anxiously. There's one more. Currently, the situation in Tianhai City is very complicated. Please inform her salary. That's good. We're going to have a meeting. You can join us. Are you curious about what meeting? I sat down on the sofa and explained. The fight meeting. When I heard that, the salary asked in surprise. Don't have to fight again. The Tay Sun base was destroyed. There might not be any other forces around. Swinging fluid hand replied, if somewhere in the river dries up, but the other branches have water, the water will naturally flow there. You're a very sensitive person. I understand what young people mean. You mean because the Tay Sun base was destroyed. This leads to a lack of power in this surrounding area. So someone wants to come. Occupy the territory of the Tay Sun base, right? Lie down on the sofa. It's almost like that. I feel like that. At least those of other factions appeared in the vicinity as, what will happen? No one can predict. But we have to prepare for the worst. Life is not a joke. Just be fully prepared. We will not be afraid of any danger. If there's anything I need to do, just give me an order. I have another team like you. Give it some more power. The young man said, of course, I won't be gracious to you. At this time, Han Han also reported to Trong some new information that you just discovered. Brother Tang translate. Accidentally, I also got some very interesting information from the Tay Sun base's database. That is, the details of other forces in the city of Tianhai. Hurry up and stand up. I'll call from the wood and the view. Everybody listen. When everyone is fully present. A meeting soon after took place. The first is Yang's announcement. Today, we met two groups of people at the entrance to the base, and there's been some conflict. This could cause other forces to retaliate. Listen to this, young man. Maybe other forces will come to fight for the territory. From there will arise war with us. Have you just returned from the battle of life and death? For how long? She took refuge in the view and heard here from Spring. Is extremely worried. The air is extremely tense. Be careful to tell everyone. So now we can't live too comfortably. There must always be a sense of vigilance. Always stay alert. Find out the relevant information and come up with a response, as well as dealing with them. The translation turned to HN. Tell people about the information. Intelligence of other forces. We'll have a clear concept. Know who the potential enemies are. And from there, we're more prepared. You know I've won 100 battles. Happy to provide information to everyone. Current situation in Tianhai City and surrounding. It's quite complicated. 3 of them also live in the shelter. It's like the Tay Sun base. The important thing is that their forces are strong. Listen to this sentence. Her salary, the view and the Spring are all sweating anxiously. Only one Tay Sun base. It took a lot of time and effort to attack. There are now 3 other bases. The next few days will be a war. He began to look at the map of the distribution of the 6 quantities. At the first analysis is the base in Yangtze. It controls the largest oil refinery of Tianhai City. Energy is their biggest advantage. Large areas clockwise. Yang is in turn flourishing. Tay Sun dynasty. The capital and in the center is the small city of Tianhai. Currently, the head of the Yangtze area is called Zhao Hong, are mutants whose suspected power is fire. She also has an assistant. His name is Gia San. Power in is wind. The specific capacity is unknown. Welcome again. The second base is the Korean Peninsula near the South China Sea. Control of all ships of the shipping companies. The sea line of Tianhai City. They can even use large ships to go to sea. Listen to the words here. Trong Yip interrupted to wait. Something seemed to have come to mind. Trong asked Han Han, is it possible to get out of the tank now? Meanwhile, Uncle View and the word fat are listening very carefully. Based on the information I got 10. Continue to analyze. Some areas near the coast will actually freeze. But the deep sea won't be frozen by this temperature. Especially the closer to the equator, the higher the temperature. She opened a map of the waters of Ra so that people can understand more clearly. Ocean currents will carry warm water around the equator. Plus, there's volcanoes on the seabed, so freezing the entire ocean. It's something that can't happen. Even if the temperature drops another 100 degrees, the global surface is covered in ice. Under the thick ice, there's still water flowing. Sea water has a high salt content. It's very difficult to freeze. Besides, they have icebreakers. Just leave the ship in the deep sea is to avoid getting trapped in the ice. Chin dilation. Think about the information you just said. If you say that, is it possible to go out and fish? Or go to warmer equatorial regions to live? Please also note that this is a very possible thing, because according to the current temperature, the area around the equator is probably -2 to 30 degrees Celsius, even though for the natives it's a disaster. But it's the same as winter in the Northeast. People can still survive. According to intelligence files from the Tay Sun base, Million Vu base has the most abundant food source. It's actually based on the sea. Listen to this. Eager to walk to the Hun Han. The young man stared at the computer. I just heard you continue. But the ship needs a lot of energy. So they have an interest relationship with the Yangtze base. These two bases are also the closest among the great powers in the heavens. Translate questions when you see an icon on your computer. What symbol is this? Is this the symbol of their base? Hun Han replied yes. The 4 major refugee bases all have their own symbols. In the end, their predecessors were all refugee centers, approved by the building authority. I remember a guy I killed before. Upon arrival at the Tay Sun base, the young man thought what that means is, the man who was killed belonged to the court base. The epidemic impatiently urged Han. Let's continue to see the next part. Quickly move to the back. The person in charge of the current court base name is Nu Yen. There is no information about him at all. Can't even confirm whether he's a psychic or not. There is also no information documents about his silent ceiling subordinates. It seems that their main battlefield is at sea, so there's less contact with other bases. Conflict with other forces is not large. Murmuring in the air. Now they're in conflict with me. The last of the 4 major bases. Located in Than Ward, near the steel plant of PT Bar Steel Corporation. Tian Hai. Now this place, controlled by the Steel Plant Workers Organization. The head's name is Celestial. I'm not sure if this is a real name or an alias. If a person's nickname is Celestial, that's fine, but if a person's real name is a Celestial, that's weird. I can only find out a little bit about this guy. However, there are some records of his abilities. It seems that it can affect the power of the people around. It makes the people around you stronger. But there's no specific record. The beginning of the post-apocalyptic era was quite short. Large factions also dare not unleash indiscriminate conflict. They won't easily show up. His supernatural powers. So the information they have about each other is very limited. Cosmetic translation promotion. The superhuman is a superhuman strategic unit. The less they publicly disclose their supernatural abilities, the more it can produce terrifying effects. Finally, in the situation, I don't know the true power of the enemy. The parties restrain each other. No one dares to act indiscriminately. Muttered the fluid again. The top names of the shelters. Tay Sun Tran base is dead. The mountain is the celestial name. There's no specific power or ability information. Yang Thin base is red training with the fire system. Base except Vu is the false name with extremely rare information, not identified. Is he a psychic or not? The power is unknown. A big power is putting tremendous pressure on the next chapter.